Hello and welcome. This is the very first ManFlick podcast, and we're basically going to use this to document what we've done so far. So,
in the group, it's Joe Sullivan, Sam Thorpe, Ollie Clubb, and me, Jack Parfitt.
And basically, we're just going to be giving you a rundown of everything that we've done so far, right from the beginning of production to where we are now, which is about halfway through.
So let's. So what we're going to talk about our preliminary task, which was the first little movie we shot. I lied. We're going to talk about essays.
First thing we did was we discussed the opening conventions of films, and we all did our own ones. I did The Bourne Ultimatum.
I did Panic Room.
I did The Bone Collector.
And I did Saw 1.
And we just basically talked about the opening in like a couple minutes, really, just so we could get an idea of what we were going to be doing. Which,
In doing so, we analysed the hermeneutic codes, which it's kind of designed by a man called
Mr. Hermetic. I can't even say it.
It was Roland Barthes, actually.
Yeah, that's the one.
There were 6 of them or something, wasn't there?
Pulled that out of the
6 of the codes.
Yeah. So there were 6 different codes, and the hermeneutic codes are technically used in thrillers to kind of draw in the audience and give them a sense of suspense and unknown.
Sometimes lead them down the wrong path as well.
Exactly that. Yeah, that would be called a snare.
Things like that, really. Just sort of worked on that, which was all right. After that, we moved on to our preliminary task.
Yeah,
in that we just got told to use a series of tasks, a series of shots based on any storyline we like, as long as it contained those shots.
And it had a piece of dialogue in it as well, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was pretty simple, but we uploaded it to YouTube on our YouTube channel, which is ManFlick Productions.
Indeed.
Which is www.youtube.com/ManFlick Productions.
If you fancy having a quick look at that. After that, obviously it was finished, so we edited it on Final Cut Express, really.
On MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
On MacBook Pro. We added a bit of lovely music in there.
It was Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs. It's a classic. One in my collection.
Maybe we'll play it on in the background right now.
What we did was we wafted it from my phone to the MacBook. That's a technical term for Bluetoothing between phone and MacBook.
Obviously.
Wafting.
And after it was wafted, we just whacked it all together, really. And then we were in a good position because we were able to discuss, how our film was going to be laid out. So we made ourselves a little flowchart on Keynote.
Yeah. And that just basically plotted out the entire narrative thread of the entire film. Everything working off of that made our storyboarding a lot easier. But in order to do our storyboards, we thought it would be great to go location hunting. So we did that during half term, and we took a bunch of pictures, drove around in my car, stood in some woodland for a while, and put all the photos together onto a Mobile Me page as well as a YouTube video, which can be viewed on all of the
www.youtube.com/ManFlick. Just cut together.
Just so that everyone knows. Then after location hunting, we did a bit of
research.
Market research.
Yeah, this all started by kind of filling out some questionnaires and also the innovative online poll. Yeah.
On your legendary blog.
Which someone didn't even put the genre of our film for some reason. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Because our film is action, not thriller.
Sort of action.
Technically.
Shows how much I know, then I thought it was free.
So, would you like to go over the results of that poll?
The basic question of the poll was, what is your favourite genre of film? And anybody going onto my blog could just kind of click on it and make their vote through that. So action received 12 votes, which was 42%. That was the runaway winner. Comedy received 7 votes, 25%. Drama had 2 votes, which was 7%. Sci-fi had 4 votes, 14%. Children's just 1, which is kind of understandable at our age. That was 3% of the vote, and romance had 2 votes and 7%.
And that's probably because we're in a boys' school, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was reflective of all of the other market research that we did, because we combined them all together into a SlideShare presentation. And the results came out in pretty much the same way.
We found out that, in 26 people, the most sort of important genre to people was action, which is pretty good for us because that's what we're doing. Followed by Not action, actually. I lied. Bit of lying going on
It was
there.
comedy.
We caught you.
I'm sorry.
It was actually comedy, but we don't want to do a comedy because we're not
Exactly.
that funny.
It's a lot more difficult to pull
It's
off.
harder to do.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, Sam could have written a whole script, but
I'm just hilarious, you see.
we don't.
And yeah, it turns out that soundtrack is actually a lot more important than we originally thought. Do you want to talk about that, someone?
Yeah, the soundtrack. We thought it was just going to be like, oh, someone just put in, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But people actually really cared about the soundtrack.
So we're gonna.
So much so that it could actually put someone off a film if the soundtrack was bad.
I mean, yeah, we're looking at a graph, aren't we? And it's pretty high up there, 37.
I think 37% really is. That shows quite the majority of people basically.
It's
do
not what
value
we were
soundtrack.
expecting, really, was it?
We were
No.
expecting like.
Yeah.
10.
So we're going to take it upon ourselves to actually write our own score.
There's the bell, ladies and gents. But
that's
that
the
won't
bell.
be stopping us. We're going to continue and press on hard, okay? So yeah, after this, we did a little bit of analysis of what a serial killer should be, because that's kind of the basic plot of our film. And we found that most screen serial killers have kind of a costume that defines them. Normally, it's a dark colour and is kind of all-encompassing, so rather than having multiple colours, it will be one garment which is of a dark colour and kind of covers most of the body. But what we also discovered is that a lot of serial screen killers have got makeup effects which we wouldn't be able to pull off. So what we've decided to do is to rely more on what's happening on screen rather than the makeup and the costume of the killer. So we've gone for a set of overalls with no mask and no makeup.
Which is pretty stereotypical kind
It
of
is.
costume, isn't it,
People
really?
will be able to recognise it.
Exactly.
Really. Yeah.
Now look at a picture of Joe. And
Joe in a hole.
So we basically we started our first day of filming a couple of weekends ago, which involved us digging a hole, and we took some photos on that, which are available on our photo bucket.
Come on then, webman, do you want to read that one
Yeah,
out?
the
read
photo
that one
bucket is www.photobucket.com/ManFlick Productions.
So they're all the photos really from the digging experience. Yeah.
It was hard work, but
Dig in the hole.
yeah, it was all necessary.
And and then basically over the next couple of weeks we did a couple shoots after school. We did another big weekend, which
Yeah.
led us to we have a very rough first draft.
Rougher than Chuck Norris's beard.
That's how rough it is.
An
Yeah.
interesting fact about Chuck Norris. If you've gone to Google, type in Google Chuck Norris, hit him feeling lucky, you get the best thing come up. So try it. It's really good.
Not entirely sure it's the most appropriate thing to be putting on.
Chuck
It
Norris
is hilarious.
once won a staring contest with the Sun.
If you have $5 and Chuck Norris has $5, he's richer than you.
Chuck Norris can do a wheelie on a unicycle.
Chuck Norris once won a game of Russian roulette against a fully loaded gun.
Chuck Norris once beat a 1984 Ford Escort in a race.
Chuck Norris can touch MC Hammer.
How about cut the Chuck Norris stuff and carry on?
So yeah, anyway, at the moment we've got a good 2.5 minutes of decent footage, which
We
obviously
really
will have
have
to
2
be
minutes,
condensed
yeah,
down. But we still have to make a car chase, so we're going off this afternoon to do some of that.
Indeed. Got full tank of petrol. How about you? Mr. 0 miles.
I've got 38 miles in my tank.
Should be enough, hopefully. So
ECU
yeah.
says.
We've also filled out health and safety forms to make sure that all of this is done in a safe environment, mainly because we're going to be driving slower than a normal car chase would happen, but we're going to kind of speed up the footage in order to make it look faster. We're going to use effects such as having the camera quite low to the ground, and the rushing concrete makes things look faster anyway.
Sort of just some simple like tricks really like that, just to make it look faster. Because obviously we can't make it really fast; it's too dangerous. But anyway, that's the stage we're at. Hopefully, in the next podcast, we'll be able to
Tell you that
we'll
we've
have finished.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thanks for listening. We've been ManFlick.
ManFlick Productions.
Stay classy, San Diego.